Welcome to the Wildcast Podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios, with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome into Wildcast Studios for another playoff episode of the Wildcast Podcast, round 2 playoff episode. Your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, fan listeners, I am your host, Adam Lund, and I am joined by your favorite co-hoster, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. I am all caught up on Love is Blind.
Oh, have you watched the reunion?
So it was an hour and a half reunion. We started watching some of it, and then we paused, and we got to come back to watch the final half hour.
Yes.
So,
did you watch it live?
no, we did not watch it live.
Did you hear about what happened?
Yes, many people wanted to. They couldn't watch it live.
Overloaded Netflix.
Yeah.
And you're right. It was supposed to be like live, like a live reunion.
Not so much.
And so many people were interested in watching it and blew out.
Because you watched the actual show like a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had shared Netflix with my ex-wife forever because whatever. And then when they decided to go against it, they were like, well, we don't need to pay $8.99. We got 75 other different streaming channels, and then we got into a way to get Netflix. And well, first thing you got to do when you got a weekend is watch Love is Blind and catch up on all that. And I don't know if you saw my wife's post. I counted the likes on episode 8 from Micah. 73 of them, and that was just of the hour episode.
Wow.
That was 45 minutes. It was like 13 every sentence she said.
God.
Brett, every time he came on the screen, I was like, Jason Derulo. The guy just reminded me of him. And I'd seen some things on TikTok about Irina looking like Beans and looking like other characters, and she's just not a good person from the get-go. But yeah, it's the trash you thought it would be, and
garbage TV show, but you can't help it.
You can't help but watch it and sucked into it. Yeah,
get right into it.
Yeah,
it's like all those stupid romance. Love is Blind is just it's different just because the whole concept behind the show, but all the other goofy love things.
Yeah, no, that one's kind of cool because it's in real time and it's you don't get to see the person. I think we talked about this last year. It'd be an interesting concept to see the average person, like not what society deems beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe a bigger man or woman on there, or even, a trans person, and of course with that you got to make sure that everybody is okay with that in the show, because you never know who you're going to end up with or end up falling in love with without seeing them. But I wonder if we'll kind of see something transition, no pun intended, into that where it's not 9s and 10s every season.
That's true, because the men are gorgeous, the women are gorgeous, and you're right. They need to kind of go in a different direction with the show to make it more, I guess, visible to the other the other communities out there, and I think that's what you've seen that with a lot of other reality shows. Big Brother is probably the first ones to bring in members of the gay community, members of the trans community. It's that's kind of what makes the show so much more welcoming and inviting to those to apply to be on the show. And you're right, those other Netflix shows they've got to start branching into that direction as well.
Yeah, and even if they don't end up finding someone and getting married on the show, just the fact that they were in the pod and they were included, and it would be. We'll see if it comes to fruition. But you talked about your other show, and one of the first ones that was doing that, and that's Big Brother.
Yes.
And for all our Big Brother fans, which I don't know how many messages you get about it. I get one, and it's Clint, and he's always like, I am so glad you're actually talking about something I want to listen to. And I'm like, what? He's like, nothing against you. I just don't follow the Wildcats as much as you do. But when you talk Big Brother, I tune in. And I'm like, all right, well, from X day to X day, here you go. You get your 3 or 4 minutes of Big Brother. So
Clint's a Big Brother Canada guy?
Huge Big Brother fan, like in general, like all of them. I don't know if he's a big Survivor fan as much as he is, but he was a big Survivor fan, Big Brother. What's that singing one? Where the coaches.
Oh, The Voice.
The Voice.
Yeah.
That guy will say, you need to listen to this song 3 months before that person actually gets developed, just because he saw them on The Voice. Huge Voice fan. So for Clint and all the other Big Brother fans, what do you got?
Yeah, so last week we said goodbye to John the Newfoundlander. So he was a good guy. You know, I think everybody liked John because who doesn't like Newfies?
That's true.
Right. Now, I will be honest, I'm not exactly caught up on the show. I do know that I'm trying to think of who. So Claudia won the HOH. So she's, of course, she's the finest thing to come out of Kensington since the Frosty Treat. Yeah. Right. So she's
not Frosted Tips.
Frosty Treat. That's right. So she's the head of household this week. I'm just trying to think. The nominees are not coming to my mind, but I can easily pop them up here if you give me, 30 seconds. Which the nominees are. My apologies, people. I should have been prepared for this particular question. However, I was not. We know that Ty won't be nominated because her and Ty are kind of showmans.
Okay. There it is.
Put it like that.
That's the first one of the year.
I correct myself. She nominated Hope and Ty for eviction. So I apparently may have missed where they broke up.
Or is that part of the strategy?
That could be very well part of the strategy. I wasn't aware that she would go and turn against Ty. So that's kind of a bit of a surprise. And yeah, when it comes to power of veto, you've got, where are we here now? So Ty won the power of veto, so he's going to save himself, obviously. Yeah. And that guy's got 9 lives. He's been up for eviction so many times. He's ended up saving himself. So at this point right now, I mean, if he gets further into the game, final 2, he can use that to his advantage and, in his speech, right? So the replacement nominee is, let me look at maybe it doesn't say.
Kind of seems like a strategy to put Ty and the other person up, knowing Ty's really good at saving himself. He saves himself, their showmans can stay, and they get rid of the other one, plus whoever the replacement is.
Yeah, and I don't think they've done the actual ceremony yet by the looks of it. So that's that must be later, maybe tonight. But yeah, that's kind of your Big Brother. I wasn't prepared for that question. I should be prepared for that question every week. But yeah, Claudia's a HOH. She nominated Hope and Ty. Ty won POV. And from what I can gather is they have yet to have the POV ceremony for the replacement nominee. But probably Kuzi, as my guess, would be the replacement. And she's the kind of one who could easily maybe flip the votes and get Hope evicted. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. We're into the second round of the Q playoffs, first round of the NBA playoffs, which means the Stanley Cup playoffs are just around the corner. So I can't not have your predictions there, sir, since we're so good at these.
NBA playoffs?
No, Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup.
Please don't ask me for NBA.
No, I couldn't tell you NBA.
No, couldn't either. I know the Raptors blew it.
Yep. Because of DeRozan's daughter.
Yes, that's right. And NHL playoffs. What do we want here?
Yes, your Stanley Cup final.
Stanley Cup final. Coming out of the East, the Boston Bruins.
Okay.
And you'll appreciate this one, Adam.
Yeah.
Coming out of the West, the Edmonton Oilers.
Nice. Nice. I do appreciate that, actually. I've got the Oilers coming out of the West because, A, I'm an Oilers fan, but B, I also was on Sports Corn TV, and Chris asked me if the Oilers if this was their year. It feels like it is. And I'm going to continue to stick with the President's Cup curse, where the team that wins the President's Cup doesn't end up getting to the final. So I'm going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes.
You want a rematch?
We're going to have an 06 rematch, yeah. Okay. And then once we actually get to the final, then we'll give more of our prediction on the final. But, yeah, Boston, Edmonton, Carolina, Edmonton.
That's what I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
I think as much as I believe in the President's Cup curse, I also think Boston's got
they're so good.
They're so good. Yeah. But I think they're too good, and that's what I think is going to kind of be their downfall, is being too good.
As long as Tampa gets out of the first round, it's always considered a success.
Oh man,
it's always. I got $20 on Tampa getting out of the first round. Yeah, a guy at work. He's like, no, Tampa Bay's getting, like, you seen them, they're not winning. I'm like, bro, there's like a month and a half left in the regular season. They're not built to win in the regular season. They're built to win in the playoffs.
Exactly. They've got the experience. So, yeah, it's going to be a good series. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, generally it comes down to goaltending, and Vasilevsky or Samsonov or Murray or whoever the Leafs haul, whoever they got in goal, I think I'll take my chances with Vasilevsky.
The UNB goalie from a couple years ago.
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, Toronto's got to get past, but I just don't see it unless it's kind of that hump. They got to get over. You got to get over Tampa Bay, just like Edmonton's got to get over either Vegas or Colorado. As we move forward. All right, don't forget to follow us on social media. Twitter, Moncton Wildcast. That was a blaze this past weekend. Instagram, Wildcast Podcast. TikTok, Wildcast Podcast. And, of course, you can like and subscribe here on the YouTube. Let's get to some news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
All right, so last week when we recorded before Game 1, I think we talked about it. I'm not sure if it had come out yet, but Maxime Massé was named Rookie of the Year. Again, I don't think he was on either of our radars, as you had Olofsky, I think.
I had Malofsky, and you had Zonin, but
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. Defensive Rookie of the Year, it was Marcus Kiersey from Charlottetown. Bit of a surprise.
Yeah, you could say that.
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be, we had hoped it would be Steinman, but they weren't going to give it to an OHL goaltender, and I can't remember who the other...
It was...
Who's the other nominee?
Gabriel Degg.
Okay, yeah, then that was a very big surprise that it wasn't Gabriel Degg. Yeah.
Only played 20 games. I guess that could be an argument as to why he didn't win it, but yeah, Marcus Kiersey. Interesting selection.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was... I can't think of anyone else that it might have been. I mean, he had a really good year in Charlottetown, but clearly a quiet year by the sounds of it. So maybe we should be paying attention to him a little more going into next season.
I think that's what happens too when teams are in that rebuilding phase, and you're just kind of looking at the 20s that are rebuilding it. Unless you're a fan of that organization, like I'm sure people in Charlottetown have no doubt that Marcus Kiersey was going to win that award, and he's been on Lucas Holden podcast a few times, twice I think. So he's getting the love over there. It's just maybe on a Charlottetown team that isn't quite winning and is kind of in a rebuild. Maybe people just kind of forget about that. Your next award coming up is most sportsmanlike and effective player, not just sportsmanlike. He's got to be effective. Bellegarde, Biasca, and Justin Robidas. And then best defensive forward, Zach Dean.
How was Dume not in that? Didn't I say he only had 6 penalty minutes?
Yeah. I believe he's only got 6.
Wow.
On the year.
What the hell? How is he not in that category? Unless Biasca only has like 2 penalty minutes. I mean, that just... Yeah, it's 6
PIMs. 6 PIMs last year, 6 PIMs this year.
Yeah.
What does Biasca have?
Like, he's pretty effective if you ask me. That's
100 some points. Yeah, I'd say he's pretty effective.
I mean, Biasca, like, this guy never take penalties?
Nope, he's got 4.
Holy shoot. Man, start egging these guys on a little bit.
Yeah.
Get them in the box.
Trying to find...
That's crazy.
Because... Didn't he go I think Dume went like a long time without even having a penalty, I think.
Yeah, that's wild. 4 penalty minutes.
No, game by game.
And 6.
Yeah, regular season. So Dume, he got his first one early on in October, 1 in November, 2 in November, and then he didn't take a penalty again until January. And then he hasn't taken a penalty from January till this series against... Was it this series against Moncton or against Cape Breton? Game 4 against Cape Breton. So
that's crazy.
I guess that's how he's not on the list. Which, yeah, because you had mentioned he's. I mean, obviously he's quite effective, and yeah, he didn't have a lot of penalty minutes. So Bellegarde must have had something like that too. So that's April 20th, and then the Guy Carbonell Trophy for best defensive forward: Zach Dean, Nathan Gauthier, and Milo Rollins. Probably Zach Dean, if I had to guess on that one. Your U18 team was announced. The only Q player on that team is the aforementioned Gabriel Dagg in goal. A couple big names left off it. Obviously, Moran's still playing, but Rookie of the Year, Massey wasn't on there. Justin Poirier was on there. Latan, Tournier. I doubt it's a situation like in the pros where after a long season they just don't want to go, or just they want the rest kind of thing. But it's just a little odd that those teams weren't named, and maybe they had to have the roster without knowing if Bacomo or Shikutami was going to get to round 2, and maybe that's why. But I mean, Tanner Howell's on it. They weren't sure if Regina was going to get to round 2. So are you a little shocked by those 4 names that aren't on that team?
Well, it's a 17-year-old tournament, so for Massey and Poirier, I mean, they'd have to play as underagers, and Gabriel Dag's playing as underager, but I think I don't know if he'll get any playing time. You know, he's a third goalie. I think he's just going there for the experience, and just because we know how highly touted he is, and he's just proving to be on Hockey Canada's radar at a young age, so... I mean, it doesn't really shock me. There's probably not many.
There's two 06s on there.
And those...
Macklin Celebrini.
That makes sense.
And Porter Matone from, he's drafted by...
Plays for Mississauga?
Yeah, he was in that trade with Sarnia and Mississauga.
Yeah.
So those are probably your 2, and they weren't in the playoffs. So.
Yeah. I mean, Macklin Celebrini makes sense. Gabriel Dag, I mean, like I said, he's just probably likely going there because he's on their radar and wants him to get a feel for Hockey Canada. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Moncton wouldn't have made it to the second round, easily Etienne Morin's on that team, and Turingi probably could have made it, but maybe, like you said, maybe it's just a case of him not wanting to go and wants an extended break.
I don't blame the kids.
1 Q player, 1 goalie, and it just when I saw that, it reminded me of that scene where. On The Simpsons when Milhouse is playing frisbee with himself.
Yeah. Or that GIF where from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will Smith's just like
looking around.
There's no furniture, no nothing in the room. He's just like, so can any of you understand me? Or I mean, obviously he's probably
a little lonely for Quebec. 1 Quebec player, but I'm sure he'll manage.
Yeah, he'll be fine, and he's like you said, he's on the radar, and he'll have a few more Q players as he gets the U18s and the U20s and becomes the next goaltender for Team Canada. Playoff matchups, again, round 2 has begun. Pretty much going the way that we'll get to our series in a little bit here, but the other series are pretty much going the way we thought. Sherbrooke 2-0, Gatineau 2-0, Quebec 2-0. Wah-wah. Like, we
predictable.
We talked about the top 4 teams being 20 points ahead of the 5th team, which was Victoriaville. And, the series shifts to the other buildings now, but same as what I asked the first round. I don't know of a team. I mean, Drummondville's kind of kept Sherbrooke close in a couple of the games. Gatineau's run away from Miranda. Quebec's having their way with Rimouski. So I don't unforesee these all being sweeps.
No, the cliche is the fourth game is always the hardest to win, but these 3 teams are, I mean, they're super teams against teams who probably want to compete next year, but they're putting the boots. They're putting the boots to them, really, and I don't know. Are they going to start the third round right away? Or give them a break and make sure it lines up with the OHL and the WHL, or
that'd be a long break. Like, I mean, Sherbrooke has outscored Drummondville 15-4. Gatineau has not allowed a goal in this series, 10-0.
Wow.
And Quebec is outscoring Rimouski 11-4.
Jeez. Yeah.
So and even in our series, 8-5. So ours is a little bit closer, but I mean, these 3. This is the situation we get into all the time. There's generally 3 or 4 super teams, and I don't know if it's because it's East-West instead of the old 1/16 that you're getting these second rounds where it doesn't seem like they're going to be long second rounds. And you've seen Dave on Twitter saying he's not a fan of the way the trade deadline goes with the futures and everybody loading up, and Pat had something on there today where he responded where I think he said every team has to have a first round pick, whether it's theirs or they acquire one, but limit the second rounders that move. Like, I just don't know if there's a way that you can kind of even this thing out, or if you even want to even this thing out. Because I'm sure the teams that are winning don't really care about.
No, they don't.
Right?
I mean, if you win, does it really matter what you paid?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at St. John. I mean, they probably regretted some of their moves after, their upset against Rimouski last year. But I mean, they ended up winning what they wanted to win, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. And the sad part is only one team out of these 4 powerhouses are gonna get a chance to go out west. So we'll see. But really, I mean, if you get to the final, is it really a disappointment? Not really, but it feels, the moves feel better if you win.
Yeah,
if you win the cup, right? So well, that's obviously to be determined. Yeah, but there's four power teams right now that should easily move on to the third round.
Yeah, and then you've got, again, if all the teams that are supposed to make it, Quebec, Gatineau, Halifax, Sherbrooke, and those are 2 very good third round series. So it's, what we're gonna lack in a second round, we're gonna have some unbelievable hockey as we move into round 3 and round 4. So do you got any other news you can think of? I know that Victoriaville did something, but of course I can't read it in French.
Oh, did they do something?
Well,
maybe I'll translate. On fait la lecture. On do lecture en français.
There they are. Come on, where are you?
The Val d'Or or the Victoriaville Tigers?
No, the Val d'Or Fourier.
Oh, the Fouriers.
Fourier.
Oh.
They did something with this guy, Mario. I don't know if they fired him or gave him an ambassador.
Une excellente nouvelle pour l'organisation. Félicitations pour ce nouvel rôle, Mario. So that means big news for the organization. Congratulations on your new role, Mario. Who's Mario?
I have no idea. Mario Burrill. It looks like he's an ambassador or something. So that's
never heard of him.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that's what I said. There might be news in Val d'Or because it wasn't De Rousseau as the coach, but maybe he's just the new ambassador for the team. So it's like an off-ice role.
Could be.
Congrats, Mario.
Yeah. Super Mario.
Wee. All right. Yeah, that's it for us. Let's get to the Weekly Rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
Johnny Rocket's probably going to listen back to that and be like, what are you two talking about? And then I'll get a voice message of him in English explaining exactly what that was and how big of a moment that was and how big of a moment we just put to that one. Welcome to the Weekly Rewind presented by Local Sports Pub. Looking for a great place to have some wings, beer, and watch sports with friends and or us? Head to 1715 Main Street where the Salty Sea Dog used to be. It's happy hour all day on Mondays where most products are $5.50 a pint. As well, a pound of wings and fries for $15.99. And we'll be there for Game 5 Sunday at noon. We know that one's playing.
Noon?
2 o'clock.
Noon?
Sorry. I had noon written down. No, not noon. 2 o'clock. Again, after 2 games, we have a series. And I don't think a lot of people... Yeah, I don't think a lot of people in Halifax thought we'd have a series. Most of the people in Moncton probably didn't think we'd have a series either. We get a bit of a break between games 3 and 4 tonight and tomorrow.
Thanks, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that.
Did you see his private plane, his private jet in Moncton?
No.
Want to see a picture of it?
Boy, do I.
I want to see a picture. I got a picture of it here.
Were you out there looking at it? Or did you just see the post on it?
No.
Huh.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to...
I'd have thought it'd been smaller. Please, this big. Yeah, there you go. If you go on the YouTube at about 23-24 and really squint on that, you can see Kevin Hart's playing. But yeah, so game 1, we were on the YouTube, and basically the Cats caught the Mooseheads flat-footed after 9 days off, just like you said.
It's like we knew.
Yeah. It's like those idiots on the podcast got it right. Blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Especially that in brackets, especially Jeremy.
Yeah. I think that's probably as good as I've seen that hockey team play in 60 minutes in 2023. So in 2022, they had some good games, but the second half of the season, I probably think that's as good of from start to finish, complete game that I've seen that hockey club play.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. At the same time, I'm also Halifax just didn't show up.
No.
So this could have been, it could have looked good. It could have looked like a good Moncton team.
Yep.
But it just was a very bad Halifax team. Their first line just never, Halifax's first line didn't even show up. I mean, I didn't even know when they were on the ice. They weren't doing the magic that they're used to doing. And yeah, I mean, I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen. You know, the fresh legs. I mean, you talk about how grueling a 7-game series like that can be, but at the same time, you're going right back into game action.
Yeah.
Right? There's no days off. You've got maybe 2 days off. The series wrapped up on the Tuesday, and then they had 1 day off, and then they were on the bus to Halifax on the Thursday. So it was the game legs, the fresh game legs were probably what won this game for them. Halifax spent their 9 days off going bowling and, sitting in a classroom, and they were practicing at maybe second gear, third gear.
Oh, yeah.
And then decided, and it showed.
Yeah.
Right? It showed. There was nothing from Halifax in game 1, and we, yeah, you're right. I think we shocked their entire fan base.
Yep. Yeah, we shocked all 9,000 people inside that building, 3,900 people in that building. But, as much as Moncton had the game legs and as good as they played, they had to keep taking advantage of it. And they had to find the next one. And, I'd said a perfect start would be weather the storm and get that first goal, but then find that next one. And they ended up finding it. And I think the biggest goal of the game was Barbashev with 3 seconds left.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
if that's 3-1, if that's 3-0 going into the third period instead of 4, Brady Schultz gets that early one and gets that crowd going. There might be something more, but it was just, and you could tell that as good as Moncton was playing, with Halifax being off, even on the power play. I mean, how many times did Lawrence have the puck wide open and it just skipped over his stick, or Boucher or Dume, or they just didn't feel like everything was crisp. And I think that could have been that second and third gear in practice instead of going first gear. And you're playing Moncton. You've beaten them 6 times since the second half of the year. You don't really have to worry about them. You're on home ice.
Yeah.
You may get away 3-2, whatever. You get a victory and you figure it out. But, I mean, they outshot us 40-28. Steinman stole the game from us, which is what Chris talked about on the pregame show, is he can outduel Matthias Rousseau. And Moncton took advantage of their opportunities and felt very much like when Game 6, when we just kept coming at Baie-Comeau, coming at them, and then they'd get 2 or 3 opportunities and they'd be in the back of the net. Yeah. You're just like, good Lord, like Moncton just, they took advantage of their opportunities, and it was, like you said on YouTube, they've exceeded our expectations.
Yeah.
They were better than they were in 2019 when we won in 7 and got swept.
Yep.
So it's a situation where, as good as that felt, and I said it on the YouTube,
can they win a second one?
Can they win a second one? And how do you bottle that up and bring it to a second one? Because the Mooseheads are coming, and holy shit did they come. 7-1, they were so much better. They switched up their lines, and they just dominated. They got the crowd in early with a early goal, I believe, from it was tipped off LaRue.
Yeah.
And it just stormed.
Never looked
back. I don't care who you play. You have 5 shots in the first period, 5 shots in the second period, and 4 for a total of 14. You ain't beaten anybody in this league, especially Halifax. Like, they didn't even really challenge Rousseau to be better when they kind of took advantage of him. But 15 shots in the second period and 5 goals, and that was kind of it for Steinman. I'm glad that was it for Steinman, not because it was his fault. I think 2 of them were tipped. Probably the worst game of Five's Wildcats' career.
Yep.
It wasn't all him. It was the guys in front of him. But you can't leave him in that net for 6 and 7 and 8, because then Halifax knows that it's over. Filion got the third. I thought Filion played all right for the first time in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's there was some turnovers in that game that probably
we're not used to seeing.
Shouldn't have been turned over.
Yeah.
These were
the Olay stick from Dume.
Yeah. those were not pretty, and
No.
I think we'll see a bounce back game from Morin. He knows it, and we'll see him bounce back on Wednesday for sure. I don't think there's any doubt in that whatsoever. Steinman's going to be better. The whole team is going to be better. Because frankly, you're on home ice, and Halifax will have their contingency there, and you want you don't want them to take control of the rink. That just makes things embarrassing. So we need to make sure there's a better crowd for those games than there was in round one, and hopefully be opportunistic, and hopefully the hope is to win one of them. You don't want to go back to Halifax down 3-1.
No.
If anything, let's just hope you win one of the games in Moncton. I'm not expecting both wins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually expecting, honestly, if I were to rank the three, I would say ranking one, the split as number one, a split as number one, 2 Halifax wins as number 2, and then 2 Moncton wins as way down.
7th.
Way down. My sincere hope is that it's 2-2 going to Halifax for Game 5. I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, and they've shown they can do that, and they know what Halifax is, and they've played them well at home and on the road early in the year, and you just got to draw on early in the year. You have to draw on that game 1. That was Five's worst game since January 18th when he was -5. That just shows you how, and that was against Charlottetown, but that just shows you.
Oh boy, was that the game we went to watch at the local?
Yeah, it sure was. That just shows you how consistent he's been. He's had one game of -5, and that -3 was his worst one since then. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to harp on that. I just wanted to make that point. Like that doesn't happen often. It was a one-off. It wasn't only him. Everybody was just kind of. I don't want to say they were resting on the laurels of game 1, but it just looked like all the juice they had from round 1 just kind of got sucked out of the building when that goal went in 7 minutes in, because they'd been playing pretty good. I mean, they'd been outshot like 10-1 up until the first cleaning break ice scrape thing. So they're going to have to be disciplined, though, moving forward, because this series has taken a nasty turn. I mean, Halifax was 3 for 9. You give them 9 power plays. I'm surprised it was only 3, to be honest. Moncton was 0 for 5. To beat Halifax, you have to play perfect, which they did in game 1. They caught Halifax on not thinking. Yeah,
napping.
Flat-footed. To beat Halifax when they're not flat-footed, you're going to have to play especially perfect, which is no penalties, and if you get a power play, you take advantage of it. Quit trying to take guys to the box with you. Just skate out of the junk as much as you can. I know you're trying to intimidate them, but you're not going to intimidate Halifax. You're not. They know they're better than you. The standings show they're better than you. A 7-1 victory shows they're better than you coming into game 3. There's no point. Now, I will address the social media aspects of being a podcast on Twitter. Oh, Zach Leroux has the hit on Loshing. I don't know if Loshing will be back. Hopefully these extra 2 days will help us get a Tybo back and a Loshing back. So I had a tweet come out that in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the game, I was sitting at the bar. I wasn't drunk or anything, but had I got home and looked at it, maybe I don't tweet it. But in the middle of the game, I tweeted that it was a blindside hit. Point of contact was the head. It was Leroux. It should have been an intent to injure. I want to say 101 comments on this. Like, it was the most popular tweet I think we've ever had. Now looking back on it, I still disagree. I still think it was a dirty blindside hit. And I know people are like, well, yeah, but look at the picture. Like, he's looking right at him. In a split second, he's looking right at him. They were able to catch him looking, like Loshing looking at Leroux with that picture that Halifax put up, which kudos to them on the troll level of using that picture. But in a 6-1 hockey game, that hit doesn't need to be delivered. And I got a lot of comments of the 101. Where's this tweet here? 58,000 views or whatever. Interactions. 113 comments. And I would say 113 of them it was a clean hit. It was a clean hit. It was not checking to the head. It was, and I didn't engage with any of them because there's no point. But it's a 6-1 hockey game. That's what Leroux is. He's an on-the-edge player. That's what we liked about him when he was here. That's what we hate about him in green. He didn't need to make that hit, and I still think he got the head. Maybe not the principal point. It was in the chest. Maybe the top of his shoulder pad hits Loshing's head. But it's just a hit that it was a player hit. Fuck it. It was the player that did it at the time in a 6-1 hockey game. Could Zach Leroux have missed the hit? Absolutely. If it's a 2-1 game and there's 4 minutes left and he delivers that hit, I'm not as angry. And I'm not going to social media with that should be 5 in a game or whatever. The 5 in the game part, that was all ref management to get Zach Leroux out. I don't even know if we have anyone to go after Zach Leroux other than Hamel, because we've seen that guy fight, and he's not going to lose many fights.
No.
So, but that you're coming off that hit, and I'll take full. It wasn't as egregious as I thought it was in that moment. Once I took some time, I'm like, yeah, you got him more in the shoulder, but the head was involved. It was the timing of the hit. It was the 6-1 score. But Moncton has to stay away from that. They cannot chase him all over the ice trying to either exact revenge or goading him in, because the best revenge for that type of hit is winning hockey games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I mean, at game speed, it didn't look very good, but no. I mean, once they showed the replay, when we were at the bar, I was like, okay, well,
I'm sorry, too far in. I'm not deleting it, but that's why I didn't respond.
Once I saw the replay, I was like, okay, it's actually not as bad. And
no, I thought he come down and got straight up, full shoulder into chin, but he actually got him in the chest.
Yeah. And
maybe the bounce was up into the chin a little bit, but it was the time, the 6-1 lead, the 7 or 8 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, and I think they giving him the major probably was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if he's back on the ice 2 minutes later, that's just going to boil things over a little more.
Yeah.
And so I think it was more the mindset of the referees. Get him out of the game. This game's out of control. It's over. I mean, it's a lopsided game. We know what happens in lopsided games. Emotions can boil over.
Yeah.
Get him out of here so that this game doesn't take a half an hour to complete when there's 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
It's to me, I think that's why he was given the 5 is just cool the temperature down a little bit. But I mean, that didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
There was still rough housing after every whistle. I didn't see anything wrong with the hit, and I hope Loshing's okay, because obviously he's a big part of the team.
Yeah.
And if he can't play, well, it's
gets an even bigger hill to climb.
That's
we took 5 penalties after that hit.
Yeah. So
all roughing, slashing, stuff like that. But it's just, and I've been on the hill of, if you're going to have fighting out of the game, you got to take these penalties and make them more tougher situations, and make the 5 minutes and the hit from behind is game misconduct, and police the tougher stuff. And I'm not saying that after this hit, Leroux should have fought, because, when you go back and look at the replay, it's not as bad as what I originally thought and what you originally thought at game speed. And, I will be as critical on a lot of the officials I can, but you look at that hit at game speed, and it's very tough not to think head was hit. And that's the hockey we're in, is anything that's up high, close to the head, they're looking for that. And like I said, hopefully these extra 2 days, allow Loshing to get back in the lineup, allow Tybell to get back in the lineup, because as much as we're running out of defensemen, we're running out of forwards, and with Loshing off, even if we get chances in a tight game on the power play, he's a pretty vital piece to that power play. And I mean, he's got the shot. Everyone's kind of moving that defenseman over to him. On the umbrella, they're moving the 3-1, so they're moving that one guy over so that they can take that shot as close as possible, and it doesn't have time to get speed. But he's vital to this team's success, especially in the top line. You lose 2 of your top 6 players against Halifax, and that mountain just gets that much higher to climb.
Yeah, you're damn right on that one. And I mean, that was kind of the scenario we were in, in Game 5, right, in Baie-Comeau. Yeah. We didn't have Loshing, but still managed to come out with the win. So, I mean, if anything, if he's not in the lineup, maybe it's a rallying point for the team where let's win this win these games for him, and make it a series. Because really, if you look at the Quebec media, the experts, as they like to call themselves, not a single one of them had this series going 6 games. It was either over in 4 or over in 5.
Yeah.
Right. So the team's already surpassed my expectations by winning 1 game.
Mine too.
Winning 2 games.
We did a heck of a job trying to temper everyone's expectations after Game 1 because they were over the moon, and we said Halifax has no problem flipping the switch and winning 4 in a row.
Nope.
And winning 4 in a row big. And what did they do the next night? 7-1.
Yeah.
Now it was a 1-1 hockey game or 2-1 hockey game till we started getting into penalty trouble. And then, Lawrence gets a power play goal, Schultz gets a power play goal, and that's over.
Yeah.
So Moncton's shown the ability to keep Halifax close and keep it within distance. Good to see TV25 get his first in the playoffs, but it's just...
Not first in the playoffs, first ever.
Was that the first ever?
Yeah, that was his first Q goal.
What?
Yeah, he didn't score at all in the regular season.
Oh, he didn't. I thought they were just giving him props for his first Q playoff goal. All right, TV25 gets his first goal of the year. Yeah. I did not. I thought he at least got 1 in the regular season. So it's a tough situation where you can't. They're like Quebec. They come in waves. Yeah. And you've said it multiple times when we played them. Like, yes, you can slow down Jordan Dumais, and he doesn't have a goal in this series. He's only got 2 assists, but Lawrence has got 2 goals. Zach Leroux's got a goal and 3 assists. Like, Vidicek, Biasca, like, all the focus is on Dumais, as it should be. But they've got guys up and down the lineup that can put the puck in the net, and it's just something Moncton doesn't have right now, so they got to try and slow this thing down and grind this thing out and play perfect hockey. And when you do that, special teams-wise, they're 1 for 9 on the power play. And that was the worry coming to Baie-Comeau is they started hot on the power play. Kind of went ice cold in that series. It's 1 for 9 right now. Loshing being out on the back end didn't help. And Halifax is 3 for 11. So done a pretty good job penalty killing, but you need those momentum goals because Halifax gets the 2 on the power play. If they don't score those and it's still 2-1 with like 4 minutes left in the second period, you're feeling awfully good about our situation. And I think that's where Game 3 is massive, is control the first 10 minutes and try and get the whatever crowd is going to be in it, because right now tickets don't look great, and the off ice is doing their best job of raising ticket prices instead of making it a reason to show up, affordable. But you got to get our crowd somewhat into it by getting a lead early. If Moncton can get a lead early, I will feel a lot better than this in Game 3. And like you've said a couple times, my heart rate on this series isn't going to be what it was against Baie-Comeau, because we're not expected to do a whole lot in this series. But if we get that Game 3 victory, okay, Game 4, my heart rate might be a little bit higher because we have a chance to go up 3-1, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the tickets, and they don't look very good. So, like this entire section.
Yeah, they look
very empty.
Yeah, they're very good at filling the sides with season ticket holders, and then not the ends.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't look promising.
No, just come out with a 2-game package for $50 per seat, or $50 for the remaining 3 games, whatever. I don't know, $20 a seat, $10 a seat. Just do something to get the crowd into it, because It's pretty tough to go play in a 7,000 and 8,000. What they have the next night? 9,000 people on Saturday. 8,500.
Wow.
We're gonna have 22, 23 probably.
We'll get 3,000.
You think we'll get 3,000?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess the Halifax fans are coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that would make sense. Any other thoughts going into Game 3? Probably going to 3, 4, and 5 because I don't think we'll have a show before Game 5 unless unless it's going to 6. Then maybe we'll have a show before that Sunday, reflecting on 2 and looking ahead to 2. But
thoughts?
Just thoughts for Monday, Wednesday.
Thoughts for Wednesday. I think you've kind of nailed it on the head. You got to stay out of the box because Halifax has a lethal power play. You've got to hope that Loshing's available. But if he's not, like I said, maybe use it as a rallying cry or tool to go out and win for him. Because do what you got to do to make this to prove the experts wrong. Because it takes one more win to make all those Quebec media douchebags look like complete fools, right? And that's all it takes. You've got our expectations exceeded already. Doing another game in this series, I think would be huge for the team, the organization.
And it just puts a tiny seed of doubt in Halifax.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be the biggest seed, but Game 1, you put a little bit of seed. They had to be better in Game 2.
Yeah,
you win Game 3 in your own barn. Now you maybe plant a little bit of a seed where they know they have to be really good in Game 4.
That's it. Just make Halifax worry a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's all you need is for them to start skating around and gripping their sticks a little too tight and having that a little bit of concern in the back of their mind, and that's all it's going to take for Moncton to maybe take advantage. So one more win and you've done more.
Season's a success.
Yeah. Really. It's you win 2 games in a series against Halifax. I'm more than pleased.
Yeah. All right, you ready for everyone's favorite part of the show?
Sure.
All right.
Eric Murray, realtor, buy a house from him. Stick tap of the week.
So this one's a big one. $64 million big one.
Oh, yeah.
So the stick tap of the week is going out to the night shift workers at the Walmart in Bathurst.
Really?
For having 64 million reasons to no longer have to work again. The largest jackpot ever won in Atlantic, Canada.
That's
$64 million. Won the Saturday 649 gold ball draw. I don't know how many workers are overnight, but I mean, even if there's 20, you're still coming home with a pretty good paycheck. And I don't think there's 20 employees working at the Walmart in Bathurst overnight.
Yeah, maybe like 10.
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking that's $6.4 million a person.
However, it's money. It's life-changing money.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like if it was one person, I'd be like, go travel the world and don't even have a worry. But I mean, I love the fact that it's a group that won it.
Yeah,
it just makes more millionaires, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
when I saw that, when I woke up Sunday morning when I saw that, I think Johnny Rocket was the first person I texted. I said, "Is it you? You can become the majority owner of the Titan." And no, it wasn't him. So
aww.
Yeah,
he's not an overnight worker at Walmart.
No,
that's disappointing.
Unfortunately not. But that's crazy. No one's stepped up to claim it yet. That's strictly a rumor.
Probably because they're all laying on the floor because they passed out.
Heart attacks, but that's good for them.
What would you do if you won? Let's say you're part of the 10, you won 6.4.
Won
First thing you do.
$6.4 million. What would I do? I'd finally go on a honeymoon.
For like a month?
Well, yeah.
Go for like 3 weeks with your wife and then fly your daughter down.
Be married, 6 years this summer, and we still haven't gone on a honeymoon.
What?
Nope.
You're not counting the draft.
Megan.
You're not counting the draft in Quebec as your honeymoon?
Megan went on a honeymoon, but without me. So we got married, and then she went whale watching and stuff with one of her friends from Ontario, and I went back to work the next day. So we've still never been on a honeymoon.
Wow.
Probably take Avery to Disney Worlds.
Yeah.
Get all the trips and stuff, and the debts and all the anything that needs paid off, pay that off. Take a family vacation, and then just
live,
retire.
Yeah. First thing I do is buy a Lamborghini. I've always wanted a Lamborghini, and they always say when you win that much money, just go buy the stupidest thing.
Is that the car that has the pussy magnet?
Yeah, it's nice. They always say just go buy the stupidest thing you can think of, like one of the most expensive because you have it. Like just get that out of your system.
Yeah.
And then obviously it'd travel the world, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, pay my daughter's debts off. Pay my parents' debts off, pay Layla's parents' debts off, and then just go to work until the first person to piss me off. And then just be like, nope, I'm out. Although once you win that kind of money, people know you won that kind of money.
Yeah.
So
they're almost expecting you to quit.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the Remax Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
All right, that brings us to the Wildcat of the Week, presented by Rosemary Lynn's Massage and Spa. Take advantage of their loyalty card as well. In the month of April, if you book an appointment, you are entered into a draw to win a gift basket worth prizes over $600. Easiest way to put your name in that, give them a call, 506-830-1224, or drop in for a visit at 1224 Mountain Road. My Wildcat of the Week, I don't really know. It's kind of tough when you have one game and then you have a 7-1 loss, but I think the guy I'm going to go with kind of gave us a new hashtag from game one.
Yes.
We have no idea what happened. He just scored that goal, a big goal with 3 seconds.
Take the puck and you shoot on the net.
With 3 seconds left in the second period, which, like I said, was a massive goal. You go up 3-0, and maybe it's a little bit of a different story when Halifax gets their goal. But on the replay, Mr. Maxime Barbashev had a fishbowl. And he had the blood coming down his nose, and I tweeted, "Nobody makes me bleed my own blood." And from Dodgeball, took me a minute to figure out what that one was. And Instagram popped off on that one too. Big goal for him. He's only had that goal, obviously in the last series or in the last game. No one really played that great, but for coming back out, bloody nose with the fishbowl, scoring a big goal to give us that next one to make sure that Halifax couldn't come back. Your Wildcat of the Week is number 49, Max Barbashev. Barbashev, yes. Don't forget, we will be at the local sports pub for Game 5 this Sunday at 2 p.m., a rare playoff matinee affair. Depending on how this series goes for the Wildcats, we could be doing another show before that. We might just let that one breathe and see what happens the week after. Don't forget, the 2023 QMJHL Draft Lottery is Wednesday, April 26th at 7:30. We're doing a live YouTube for that. We're going to try and wrangle up some guests, kind of have a pre-show, see where the balls drop, as we have a 28% chance of winning the draft lottery, and then maybe have a bit of a mock draft depending where we are. Have some guests after as well. So April 26th, 7:30, live on. Well, it's at 7:30. I'm guessing it'll probably be like last year, where it was like a 45-minute show before they dropped the.
Oh, they'll interview all the GMs and what do you think of you? What's your lucky? What do you have lucky with you? And what's who's watching at home? And do you have your eye on a specific player?
But at least Richie's there, not for our pick this year. This is another year he's there. But yeah, we'll be on there live Wednesday, April 26th. Jeremy and I will be on the YouTube with some guests, and we'll see if we get that number 1 pick overall in next year's draft in Sherbrooke, which again, we're gonna be there. So You're not getting rid of us yet. Don't forget to vote for our wonderful sponsors from now till June 1st on moncton.communityvotes.com. Antlers Whiskey Lounge, Eric Murray Realtor, and Rosemary Lynn Massage and Spa. Enjoy game 3, 4, 5, and hopefully we're looking at playing a 6th. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.